is the solution to the practice problem proposed at the end of the Big O and Sample Problems video in this same tutorial. Remember, this is the practice solution to the Hangman problem. The goal is to write a simple Hangman program that lets the user play Hangman. It should take in the letter guesses as the user input and stop the game when the user has reached a certain number of wrong guesses or they have found the whole word. You can design the program in any way that you like, just keep in mind all the things we have learned along the way. You should show the user the intermediate version of the word they are guessing with asterisks for unguessed letters and the letters where they have guessed correctly. Okay, so let's get this started here. Move this over. I'm going to create a new Java class. I'm going to call it Hangman. Okay, double click to make that left pane go away. And as always, I'm going to start with public static void main string args. Okay, so the first things first is I'm going to have a certain number of wrong guesses. So I'm going to make that a class constant so that way I don't have a magic number floating around for the number of wrong guesses. So private static final int wrong guesses equals 5. I'm going to allow them 5 wrong guesses. Let me see here. Okay. So now the other thing that I need is a scanner to keep track of my user input. So I'm going to create scanner, scan equals new scanner, system.in. And this is red because I don't have the import, so I'm going to click on it and do Alt Enter, and that'll give me this list right here. And I know that I want java.util scanner, so I'm going to go ahead and import that. Okay. So now I need to get their first guess. So string guess equals scan.next is a single letter string. And now what I want to do is play around, right? And then, or what I want to do is play the game with guess. So I'm going to say, actually not the game, I'm going to go ahead and call it Hangman. So I'm going to say public static void play Hangman, and it's going to take in a string guess, as well as the scanner, because I'm going to need to get subsequent guesses. And I can only have one scanner per system.in, remember? Okay. So now I have this guess, and I need to use the guess to figure out if I've already got it in the word. So I need to know what my word is. And I'm going to go ahead and create that up here as well. So private static final string answer equals. I'm going to say that the answer is hello world. Okay. Now, I'm going to go ahead and create some intermediate methods that I need to keep track of things. So the first thing that I need is the method that takes it from the word to asterisks, right? So public static void insert asterisks for missing letters. And it's going to take in the string of guesses. So what I want to do is for int I equals 0, I less than answer dot length plus plus I. I'm going to run over all of answer. And as I go, I'm going to be building up an intermediate string. And I'm going to call asterisk added. So I'm going to say if guesses dot contains answer.char at I. And let's see what the problem is here. Okay, so it's expecting a string, but I'm giving it a single character. So I'm just going to go ahead and do plus the empty string to make it a string. So if it contains that, then I want to add the letter, right? Because it's been guessed correctly. Because it's been guessed correct. Yeah, I'm going to say guesses is correct. So I'm going to actually call this correct guesses, just to be super clear. So in that case, I'm going to say asterisk added plus equals answer dot char at I. And you know what, actually, I'm going to say string current equals answer dot substring from I to I plus 1, because that'll give me just the current character that I want to look at, and replace that with that. And if guesses doesn't contain the current thing, then I want to add an asterisk. And at the very end, I want to return asterisk added. And this should be string. Okay. So now I have that. The next thing I want to do is count the number of wrong guesses. And I need to figure out how I'm going to keep track of guesses and wrong guesses. So the way that I want to do that is I'm going to go ahead and in Play Hangman have an array called letters. So I'm going to say, let's see, I'm going to make it a string array of letters, alphabet, and it's just going to be A, B, C, blah, blah, blah. Now, I could do this like that and set it out and type everything out, but I think an easier way to do it will be to make it with a method. So public static string get alphabet. So I'm going to say string alphabet equals new string, and it's going to be 26 long because there are 26 letters in the alphabet. I'm going to say for int I equals A, I less than or equal to Z, plus plus I. Then I want to say that alphabet equals char I plus the empty string, alphabet at I. And then I'm getting an error here because there's no return statement, so I'm going to go ahead and say return alphabet. So I can say here that string alphabet is equal to get alphabet. And you know what? I'm actually going to call this guess tracker. Okay. So now I have all of that. And I want to see if guess is in the string alphabet or not. So I'm going to say if answer dot contains guess, then I want to have this string that I'm keeping track of correct guesses. Have that guess. Else char guess char is guess dot char at I, or 0, not I. So if it's not in the answer, then it's a wrong guess, and I want to have the guess tracker keep track of that wrong guess. So I'm going to say that guess tracker at guess char minus A, because I want it to be 0 if it's A and 2 if it's B, all that, is an X. No, it should be a 0, right? Because it's not in the alphabet. Because I know that it's not in the alphabet, and 0 is what I'm going to say is the false version. And I'm going to create a guess char outside of here. Okay. And it's just saying that I'm assigning a value to correct guesses but never using it. So now I have this information, and I want to use it to play the rest of the game. So I'm going to have this method called count asterisks. It's going to take in string asterisks added. Just tell me that I missed. Okay. And it's going to actually return int. So this is going to run over all of asterisks added. And it's going to say if asterisk added dot char at I is an asterisk plus plus count. Right? And I also want to have another method, public static int count wrong guesses, and it's going to take in string get alphabet. So I'm going to run over all of alphabet. So for int I equals 0, I less than get alphabet dot length plus plus I. And here it's dot length without the parentheses, because dot length is a property of arrays, not a method. If get alphabet I dot equals 0, as in it's not a correct, then I'm going to increment count and then return count at the end. Okay. So what I'm going to say is, and I'm going to go ahead and put this part inside the loop. So if count asterisks for you know what, actually I'm going to say string asterisks added equals okay. So now I have if count asterisks added is less than, is greater than 0, and count wrong guesses for get alphabet is less than or equal to wrong guesses, play another round. So I actually want this to keep happening as long as this is true, right? Because I want to keep playing another round as long as this is true. So I'm going to say actually while, right? Because it'll keep playing another round, not plan, play. It'll keep playing another round as long as that's true. So what I want to do is I want to system.out.println word so far plus asterisk added. Yeah, plus asterisk added. And then I want to get the next guest. So I'm going to say that guess is equal to scan.next, just like I did up here. And again, this is a single letter string. Okay, so now I want to do the thing again where I see if it's a guess or not, if it's a correct guess or not. So I'm going to go ahead and redo this part of the code because this is checking for correct guess or not. This is checking for correct guess or not. Okay. So now I want to, after that's done, after they break out of the loop, either they've won, so this is the winning condition, or they've lost, and this is the losing condition. So while haven't won and haven't lost yet. So after the while loop, I need to figure out if they won or lost, right? But for right now, I'm going to go ahead and test out to make sure this is working. So I'm going to system.out.println won or lost. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and do run, and I'm going to choose Hangman. And you know what? I forgot to prompt the user for input, so I'm going to go ahead and put that in. Out.print, enter a letter, and I'm going to put this prompt here as well. And you know what? I'm going to go ahead and print out a welcome. Go and stop that. Welcome to Hangman. Okay, so now I'm going to play again and hopefully have all the prompts this time. Okay, good. So I know what the word is, so I'm going to go ahead and just do the happy path of I won the game. So H, out of bounds exception, 65. So let's see where that's happening. It's happening at get alphabet. I forgot to do -A for the index. Okay. So what happened was I didn't do -A for the index and get alphabet. And so that caused an out of bounds error when it tried to get the position of A instead of 0 for setting the first element in the array. So let's try that again. H. Okay. So now I get to enter the hello. Okay. So now I have an array out of bounds exception 36 at line 40. 46. So I have guess char minus A, and that's somehow giving me 46 instead of the, why? Okay, Oh, you know what? Let's try to debug this a little bit. System.out.println guess char. System.out.println guess char minus a, and we want that to be an integer. Okay. So let's try that again. So we have H, and that works. We have E. So the main is E, and then we have 36 for guest char minus A. Why is that happening? Let's see here. I did the same thing that I did up here for the first guess. Well, you know what? I see another error, so let's take care of that first. So we're doing insert asterisk, right? And you'll notice that we skipped over the space. So we want the space to be not counted. Right? So if current dot equals a space, then we also want that to be added. So let's make sure that that works. So we have H. Okay, good. Now we have, let's try an O, an L. Okay. So what is, oh, you know what? Okay, so here's the problem. We're subtracting a capital A every time, but the letter is lowercase. So we should actually be subtracting a lowercase a. So in this case, we want to create a public static void is lowercase, and it's going to take in a char guess char. Okay, and it's going to return guess char less than, greater than, or equal to capital a lowercase a, and guess char is less than or equal to a lowercase c. This should be of type Boolean. So we have a Boolean method that returns if a character is lowercase or not. So what we're going to say, and we have to do it in both places, is char subtractor is equal to is lowercase guess char. And this is a ternary statement. So subtractor is if the guess char is lowercase, it's a lowercase a, else it's a capital A. And this should be minus subtractor. And it's saying that I am misspelling the, you know what, I'm just going to call it to subtract, because I know how to spell that, to subtract. Okay. Let's get this down here as well. To subtract. Okay. Let's try this again. We're going to go ahead and play. So we have H, E, L. Okay, so somehow we forgot to update what the asterisk added was. So at the end, we need to do this again, right? Okay, so let's try again. You know what, we're gonna go ahead and see how this has a 2 here? It means that we're running 2 processes. So I'm gonna go ahead and stop all of them so I can restart. And it had that because I started in the middle of the last one where I was in the middle of entering a letter and I restarted the process or the running of the Java class, and that caused it to have 2 running in the middle because it was waiting for the letter to be entered on the first one, and I started a second one. So let's go ahead and hit play. So H E L O W R D. Okay, so it told me that I won or lost, which is great. But let's do it to where I lose and make sure that I can lose. So I know that there's not an A. I know that there's not a P, not a U, not an I, not a U, not a Q, and not a S. Okay, so I should have lost by now, but I haven't. So let's see what's happening. Okay, so my problem is that I'm calling get alphabet here. And I should be putting guest tracker, right? Because guest tracker is what's actually keeping track of everything. Okay, so let's try that again. I'm going to stop the running process and hit play. So I know that there's not an A, not an I, not a P, not a U, not a K, not a D. Okay, so I'm still not telling it that I won or lost. But let's try one more time. Not an F. Okay, so see, I went way too many times. I only wanted to have 5 wrong guesses, but I let it go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times. So wrong guesses here should be A less than wrong guesses. And then when I'm counting wrong guesses, here, let's see, that should work. Interesting. I wonder why it's off by 1. Because, oh, you know why? It's because I entered D, and D is the end of world. Duh. Let's try again. So now we want to hit play. And see, I want to say there's not a Q, there's not an I, there's not a K, there's not a P, and there's not an S. So I can lose. That's great. Okay. So now I want to check to see what happened, if I won or lost. So let's say if count asterisk of asterisk added is 0. And I want to print, you won. Else system.out.println you lost. Okay. So that'll keep track of all of that. So whenever I was playing Hangman, let's see if I can. Let's just get my console back so we can look at this to see if it makes sense. So I'm going to enter a letter. I'm going to say H, and then E. So every time I enter a letter, it looks a little squished, right? So before I do enter a letter here, I'm going to go ahead and do a new line character. So that way there's more spacing between all the words. So H. Okay, so here is a problem, right? I entered a lowercase h, and it didn't tell me, it didn't tell me that I got an H correct. So what I'm going to do is in here, I have guess.contains current, right? And current is either an uppercase or a lowercase single letter string. But I know that it can be upper or lowercase in my final word, right? So what I'm going to do is say string current uppercase equals current, or sorry, how am I figuring out if it's a correct guess or not? Okay, answer.contains guess. So I want to say there contains ignore case. There's not. There's equals ignore case, but there's not contains ignores case. So I am going to go ahead and write my own contains method because I want it to be case insensitive, and there's not a method that already does that for me. So I'm going to go ahead and write it here. Public static boolean contains, and it's going to take in string base, string to check. So it's going to go, we're going to say for int I equals 0, I less than base dot length plus plus I. So string current base equals base dot substring from I to I plus 1. And we're going to assume that toCheck assumption. toCheck is a single character string. We're going to say if current base dot equals ignore case toCheck, return true. Else, we're going to return false at the end if we make it all the way through base and toCheck isn't there. So everywhere that we have this, I'm going to change this to my contains method, and the base is going to be answer, and guess is going to be what I want to check. And I want to do that as well here. And instead of guess, I want this to be current. Or sorry, not current, correct guess. Okay, and I don't need this anymore. Or do I? You know what, this needs to be opposite. Correct guesses and current. Yeah. Right, because we want the correct guesses to contain the current letter. So let's see if this works. We're going to stop my running process and hit play. So let's see what happens when I enter lowercase h. Okay, so it didn't notice it, and let's see why it didn't work. Let's make sure, I'm going to stop the running process, that I okay. So we're going to do some debugging on our contains. So let's say match, and we're going to print out current base and to check. So let's see if it ever hits that. So it never hits here. And let's see, let's go outside and see what unmatched gives us, because maybe we did something wrong here. So we're going to stop the running process and hit play. H. Continue. Why is it never... It should have... Contains. Let's make sure it's actually getting inside and contains. So H. Why would it be... Oh. You know what? It's because I forgot to replace this dot contains with this. Okay. Now let's try. Oh, stop. Stop the running process. Stop the running process. Now we can try again. So let's see. We have H. Okay, so now it's working. And now it doesn't matter if I do a lowercase or an uppercase. Great. Let's make sure that this still works. You won! Yay! So now let's go ahead and put a new line character here. Okay, so let's do some some idiot proofing, right? Because currently, if I do this, I get an array out of bounds exception because I gave it a string that was more than just a single character. So every time they give us a guess, we need to check it to see if it's a single character or not. So let's go ahead and create a separate method for that. Public static void check guess, and it's going to single letter. So let's check string char, and we're going to say, or not string char, string guess, and we're going to say if guess dot length is greater than 1 or guess dot length is less than 0, less than 1, and you know what, this can just be not equal to 1, then we're going to throw new illegal, is illegal input a thing? No, I'm just going to say illegal argument exception, and I'm going to say guess can only be 1 letter long. And I'm going to check that guess is a single letter every time I get a guess. So here we get a guess. And we also get a guess here. And it's void. All it's doing is going to throw this exception if its length isn't right. So let's play and see what that gets us. And I get the argument exception, guess can only be one letter long, so that's much more informative than the error that I would have gotten before. Okay. So that is a very simple version of Hangman that meets all the requirements. Okay, and you could have added things like telling the player how many incorrect guesses they have so far, any of that, right? But this is just the simple version where it tells you the guesses so far. The other thing we didn't do was we didn't check to see if something they've entered is something they've guessed before. So right now I could do H, 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 and I could keep guessing H forever because I'm not checking to see if they've already guessed that letter or not. I could also do like K, which is wrong, enough times for, and it would never stop, right? Because I'm just going to keep guessing K, which is never going to increase my number of wrong guesses. So I'm going to go ahead and put in that check. So let's see. Static boolean already guessed. It's going to take in a string guess tracker and the char guess char. So we're going to again have the char to subtract, and this is going to be is lowercase guess char. It's going to be A or capital A. And we're going to say that string guess from tracker is guess tracker guess char minus to subtract. And you know what? These should be hard braces. And then we're going to say if guess from tracker dot equals 0 or guess from tracker dot equals 1, we're going to return true. Else we're going to return false. Right? Because if we don't have this if statement, we want to return false. So now we don't need to check the very first time that we check an answer because we know that it's not possible for it to have already been guessed. But here we do. So we need to say if already guessed, guess tracker and guess char. We need to say already guessed that letter. Try again. And then we need an else around everything else, right? An else for checking for the answer and all of that. So let's stop the run of the program and hit play. So we have an H, H. Already guessed that letter. Try again. And it gave us the word so far again. Let's see what happens if we give it a bad letter. So we know that's a wrong guess. And it told us that we already guessed letter to try again. Great. And you know what? Let's give the user a little bit more information. So this is if the answer is correct, right? And this is if it's wrong. Let's say the word does not contain a guess. Try again. So let's hit play. So let's see what happens if I hit the K. Okay. So it didn't tell us, right, because I forgot to copy this into up here. So let's stop the running of the program and play. And so let's see, K. The word does not contain a K. Try again. Great. So this works just like I expected. And let's see, if I hit J, does not contain a J. Try again. Great. But if I still do H, that still works. L or E still works. Okay. I think that this game is robust enough for somebody to be able to play and know what's going on. And that's the end. I hope you found this helpful.